2024 has been an unforgettable year in tennis. From jaw-dropping matches to career-defining moments, both on the men's and women's tours, the season had it all. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner lit up the courts, while Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka delivered stunning performances. In today's video, we'll celebrate the players and matches that defined this incredible year. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated. ATP Player of the Year, Jannik Sinner. At the 2023 ATP Finals, Carlos Alcaraz made a bold prediction and proclaimed Sinner would reach number one in 2024, where he's going to give himself the chance to reach the number one. And, as it turns out, Alcaraz couldn't have been more accurate. Sinner had a season few could even dream about. He won his first major title at the Australian Open to start the year, and then went on to claim the trophies at the US Open, the ATP Finals, and 5 other events, including 3 at the Masters 1000 level. Sinner took over the world's top ranking for the first time in June and has yet to relinquish it. At year's end, he holds nearly a 4,000-point lead over second-ranked Alexander Zverev and the rest of the pack. Taylor Fritz, who lost to Sinner in the final at both the US Open and the ATP Finals, couldn't hide his admiration for Sinner just moments after leaving the court in Turin, Italy, earlier this month. Not only is he the best player in the world, but he's playing at an extremely high level right now, Fritz said. Sinner was unstoppable on the court, but he faced a substantial distraction and subsequent scrutiny following 2 failed drug tests for an anabolic steroid in March. While the public was not made aware of the finding until shortly before the US Open in August, Sinner was provisionally suspended during an appeal process, and he admitted he had been worried while waiting for the International Tennis Integrity Agency's final ruling. He was ultimately determined to be not at fault and was not banned from competition. He went on to complete arguably one of the greatest seasons in recent memory with a 73-6 final record, capping it by leading Italy to a second consecutive Davis Cup title this month. Sinner was the unanimous selection by ESPN's voting committee for this honor. Ever commended him for being so solid, powerful, and mentally tough. Goodall added that Sinner's consistency is exemplary, and his base level of play is setting a new benchmark at the top of the men's game. WTA Player of the Year, Aryna Sabalenka. Sabalenka entered the new year as the world number 2, having briefly ascended to the top spot for the first time in her career near the end of the 2023 season. But 2024 proved her number 1 ranking had been no fluke, and, to steal a basketball phrase, she was by no means a one and done. The 26-year-old opened the season by becoming the first woman in over a decade to successfully defend her Australian Open title. And she did so in dominant fashion, as she didn't drop a set throughout the fortnight and held off a slew of formidable opponents. While the next several months were challenging, including the death of her former partner Konstantin Koltsov ahead of the Miami Open and an injury that forced her to withdraw from Wimbledon, Sabalenka rediscovered her form in the second half of the season. She won her 3rd major title at the US Open, redeeming her disappointing 2023 loss in the final, and the trophies at the 1,000-level tournaments in Cincinnati and Wuhan. Sabalenka reclaimed the world number 1 ranking in October, taking it back from Iga Swiatek, who had held it all season, and managed to achieve her goal of being the year-end number 1 thanks in part to her semifinal appearance at the WTA Finals. There are now over 1,000 points separating Sabalenka from Swiatek, and almost 3,000 points between her and the rest of the WTA. Evert expressed her admiration for Sabalenka's addition of calmness and emotional security to her game when explaining her vote, and Goodall cited Sabalenka's consistency, as well as her power and improved variety. She is the current queen, Goodall said. Like Sinner, Sabalenka was a unanimous choice from our experts for the award. And some other notables. Best moment, Novak Djokovic wins gold. After earning 3 major trophies and the ATP Finals crown in 2023, the idea of Novak Djokovic not winning a Slam title, or any ATP title for that matter, would have seemed hard to believe at the start of the year. But that's exactly what happened. And yet, despite that surprising result, Djokovic still ended the year having secured the one elusive piece of hardware he had been desperately seeking his entire career, an Olympic gold medal. And based on how much he said it meant to him, it might have been all he needed to consider the season a success. Djokovic arrived in Paris in July for the Games shortly after losing to Alcaraz in the Wimbledon final, and just weeks after undergoing surgery for a torn medial meniscus, but more focused than ever at achieving his Olympic dream. He had won the bronze in 2008, but had failed to medal in his other 3 appearances. Prior to the Games, he had called returning to the podium one of his greatest priorities for the year. After an impressive week, in which he even defeated longtime rival Rafael Nadal in the second round, Djokovic set up a rematch with Alcaraz in the final. In front of a packed crowd with divided, but equally vocal, loyalties, the two battled in a clash that was a contender for Match of the Year. Despite Alcaraz's speed and fighting spirit, Djokovic refused to lose. He needed tiebreaks in both sets but closed it out 7-6-3, 7-6-2 to claim Olympic gold. And while the match itself was epic, it was Djokovic's emotional and tearful reaction after winning that fans likely best remember all these months later. Being on that court with the Serbian flag raising and singing the Serbian anthem and wearing the gold medal around my neck, I think nothing can beat that in terms of professional sport, Djokovic said later. Breakthrough Player of the Year, Jasmine Paolini. Entering 2024, Paolini was ranked number 30, one spot behind her career-high mark, and had never advanced beyond the second round at a major. She hadn't fared much better in doubles either, starting the season ranked at number 97 and having reached a slam third round just once. But what a difference a year makes. Paolini, now 28, had one of the best seasons on tour and went from an occasional contender at 250-level events to a formidable foe at every tournament she played. She opened the year with a run to the round of 16 at the Australian Open and almost immediately followed it up with the biggest title of her career at the 1,000-level Dubai in February. From there, she was an unexpected finalist at both the French Open and Wimbledon, the only woman other than Sabalenka to reach 2 major finals in 2024, and made the doubles final at Roland Garros as well with Sara Errani. Paolini and Errani then went on to claim Olympic doubles gold in Paris. At the year-end WTA Finals, Paolini was the only woman who qualified in both singles and doubles. While she didn't make it out of the group stage in either draw, she finished the year as a career-high number 4 and at number 10 in doubles. And, if that wasn't enough, Paolini helped lead her Italian team to the Billie Jean King Cup victory just last week. What a year indeed. Honorable mentions: Taylor Fritz, Qinwen Zheng, Jack Draper. Doubles Players of the Year: Katerina Siniakova and Matthew Ebden. While we typically might award this to a doubles team, we're instead opting to highlight 2 doubles players that had sensational seasons with multiple partners. After splitting with Barbara Krejcikova ahead of the year, Siniakova played with a number of different teammates this season, finally landing with American Taylor Townsend. Together, the pair won Wimbledon and reached the final at the WTA Finals. But due to an injury that forced Townsend out of the French Open, Siniakova joined forces at the last minute with Coco Gauff, and well, they won their first ever tournament together at Roland Garros. And if that wasn't enough, Siniakova also took home Olympic gold in mixed doubles with Tomas Mikak. She finished the year as the world number 1 in doubles for the 4th time in her career. Ebden won the second major doubles title of his career and first with Rohan Bopanna at the Australian Open to start the season, and Ebden made his debut as the number 1 doubles ranking weeks later. Ebden and Bopanna also won the 1,000-level Miami Open in March and reached the semi-finals at the French Open. Needing to find an Australian to partner with at the Olympic Games, Ebden selected his friend John Peers, and the two emerged victorious in a star-studded field to bring Australia its first gold medal in tennis in 28 years. Ebden later called their triumph more than a dream. Best match: Madrid final, Iga Swiatek versus Aryna Sabalenka. Sure, there wasn't a slam title on the line, but this showdown between the top 2 ranked women for the 1,000-level Madrid title further established the duo's growing rivalry, and was a thriller full of drama, incredible points, and a compelling and fierce battle of wills. A rematch of the 2023 final, Swiatek, the undisputed queen of clay, would not settle for the same result this time. But she would need well over 3 hours and had to save 3 match points to do it. The result? A 7-5, 4-6, 7-6, 7 Swiatek victory in a match we're still talking about to this day. Swiatek even thanked Sabalenka after the match. "It's always a challenge playing you," she said on court. "Thanks for always motivating me and forcing me to be a better player." Honorable mentions: Swiatek versus Naomi Osaka, French Open second round. Sinner versus Daniil Medvedev, Australian Open final. Alcaraz versus Sinner, Beijing final. Paolini versus Donna Vekic, Wimbledon semifinals. Djokovic versus Lorenzo Musetti, French Open third round. Gauff versus Shone, WTA Finals final. Comeback Player of the Year: Karolina Muchova. After reaching the semifinals at the 2023 U.S. Open, Muchova, who also reached the final at the 2023 French Open, was sidelined from competition due to a right wrist injury. She underwent surgery and extensive rehabilitation and was out of action for 10 months. But in just her third tournament back in July, she reached the final at Palermo. And at the U.S. Open, which got underway only 2 months after her return, Muchova was as dangerous as ever, and she defeated big-name opponents including Osaka, Paolini, and Beatriz Haddad Maia to make it back to the semifinals. After taking the first set of the semifinal 6-1 in just 28 minutes against Jessica Pegula, Muchova was unable to sustain her level and lost the match, but the run and the unbelievable point below proved she was back at the two events Muchova played after the U.S. Open. She reached the final at the China Open and the semifinals at Ningbo before having to retire during the match with a back injury. In August, her ranking had dropped out of the top 50, but Muchova closes out the year at number 22. Unsung Hero: Dan Evans. If you win a 5-hour and 35-minute match, clocking in as the longest in U.S. Open history, as Evans did against Karen Khachanov in the first round in New York, you deserve some sort of recognition. And that's part of the reason why we're saluting Evans in this year-end tribute. But that marathon victory is really a fraction of the story for Evans this year, as the 34-year-old Brit put friendship and national pride before his own personal gain and career with a truly selfless act over the summer. Having won the 2023 City Open, Evans opted to skip the event, thus forfeiting the ranking points and dropping 110 spots in order to play doubles alongside Andy Murray in the final event of Murray's career at the Olympics. Together in Paris, the pair fought hard, miraculously staving off a total of 7 match points throughout the week to advance to the quarterfinals. They were ultimately defeated by Fritz and Tommy Paul, but by playing, Evans allowed Murray to have the farewell he had wanted, minus an Olympic medal of course, and allowed tennis fans to appreciate one last run of Murray magic. Fondest farewell: Rafael Nadal. In a year in which tennis said goodbye to Murray, as well as other slam champions like Angelique Kerber and Dominic Thiem, there still was no one who received a larger outpouring of support for his final match than Nadal. The 22-time major champion had announced that the Davis Cup would be his final event before retirement, and those on site, as well as legends like Roger Federer, Serena Williams, and Maria Sharapova, made sure he felt all of the love. Nadal lost to Botic van de Zandschulp 6-4, 6-4 in his singles match in Spain's quarterfinal clash against the Netherlands, and then needed to wait and see if his teammates would be able to prolong his goodbye with a comeback victory. But it was not to be. Alcaraz and Marcel Granollers lost the deciding match in doubles, and Nadal's career officially came to an end. He was then honored with a post-match ceremony from the tournament organizers, which included a video tribute featuring Murray, Djokovic, Federer, and Williams, and others around the sports world. Nadal spoke to the crowd of over 11,000 with a heartfelt speech in Spanish. "The way I would like to be remembered is as a good person from a small village in Mallorca," Nadal said. "Just a kid that followed their dreams, worked as hard as possible to be where I am today. At the end of the day, a lot of people work hard and try their best every single day, but I am one of these that have been very lucky to have the life I've been able to live and experience because of tennis." Ones to watch in 2025. Taylor Fritz. The 27-year-old American reached the first major final of his career at the U.S. Open, made the title match at the ATP Finals, won 2 250-level titles, nabbed an Olympic bronze medal in doubles, and ended the season ranked a career high of number 4. He'll undoubtedly be bringing confidence and momentum into the new year. Coco Gauff. While she didn't win another major in 2023, perhaps no one had a stronger latter part of the season than the 20-year-old. Gauff won the WTA Finals crown, as well as the 1,000-level title in Beijing in October. Now ranked number 3, the top-ranked American will have no shortage of motivation in 2025 and will be among the favorites at the year's first major in Melbourne. Alex de Minaur. It was a banner year for the 25-year-old Australian. He defeated then-world number 1 Djokovic to open the season, cracked the top 10 for the first time in February, reached 3 consecutive major quarterfinals at the French Open, Wimbledon, and the U.S. Open, matching his previous career best at a slam, and played in 3 ATP finals, winning 2 of them. To say he's on the upswing might be an understatement, and he looks poised for even more success next season. Naomi Osaka. The 4-time major champion returned to competition at the start of the 2024 season following maternity leave. And while she didn't immediately achieve her former glory, she showed flashes of promise. See her French Open match against Swiatek. Now with a full season under her belt, Osaka is working with Serena Williams' former coach Patrick Mouratoglou. Could 2025 be the season where she officially re-emerges as a slam contender? Arthur Fils. The 20-year-old Frenchman had his best-ever showing at a slam with a 4th-round run at Wimbledon and won 2 500-level titles, on clay and the hard court. An all-surface threat. Expect Fils to break through even more next year. Emma Navarro. The former NCAA champion proved she had what it takes to compete against the best in the world with a truly monster season. Navarro won her first title at Hobart in January, and then went on to reach the quarterfinals at Wimbledon and the semifinals at the U.S. Open behind an upset victory over Gauff, the defending champion and crowd favorite in the quarters. Not to mention, the 23-year-old American also cracked the top 10 and made her first Olympic team. Can she do even more than that in 2025? We'll just have to wait and see. Ben Shelton. Another former NCAA champion, Shelton didn't repeat his U.S. Open semifinal run from 2023, but he reached the 3rd round or better at every slam and won the title at the U.S. Men's Clay Court Championships in April. His talent is without question, and he remains one of the American men's best hopes to stop the major drought. Zheng Qinwen. First major final? Check. Olympic gold? Done. And 1,000-level title at Wuhan? Yup. Ending the year with a final appearance at the WTA Finals? Indeed. Zheng did just about everything this year, including ending the season at a new career high of number 5 and becoming the first athlete to grace the cover of Vogue China. She'll look to take it one more step further in the new year. Carlos Alcaraz and Iga Swiatek. Both had incredible 2024 seasons, with Alcaraz winning 2 major titles, Olympic silver and 2 other ATP events, and Swiatek winning her 4th French Open title, as well as Olympic bronze and 4 WTA 1,000-level tournaments. And yet it still feels like this pair of young superstars could do even more in 2025. And there you have it, the best moments and players that made 2024 unforgettable in the tennis world. From breathtaking rallies to the crowning of new champions, this year reminded us why we love this sport. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the latest tennis updates. See you in the next video.